Welcome to another video on Microsoft Access. Today we're going to go over reports using the report wizard to begin with, and then after the report wizard we'll modify the report to make it legible and viewable by your customers, okay, using the editor. So let's open our Access database here, and what I want to do today is show you over here in the Create ribbon. We're going to go all the way over here to the right, and we have a report wizard up here that allows us to be guided through the process of creating a report. The table I want to choose today is Table Products, and I want to go ahead and choose the product ID. We're going to go ahead and choose the category ID, category, and description here at the top, and quantity in stock, retail price, and cost. Okay, now with our fields chosen, we remember this dialog box looks a lot like the form wizard, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it to tell you what this is, because it's really an identical box to the form wizard. It just has a different name up here. And when I click next here, though, this is totally different. What you want to do is choose a roll up, so to speak. So what I want to do is I want to roll up each product in my report by product category. So I'm going to go ahead and choose category here. It says, do you want to add any grouping levels? So I'm going to choose that I want to group it by category. And when I click this right arrow here, it gives me an indication in this graphic that category is going to be a title or a heading, and then it's going to have the other fields down here available for me. So that's the only grouping level. Now I could have multiple nested grouping levels here if I wanted to, but at this point I don't have the data to support that. The only real item I have is category here. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. And then, now I have to choose how I want my data to be sorted. Let's go ahead and sort it by description, which is really the title of the product in this case. So having it titled by description allows me to make sure it's in alphabetical order. So it should be easier to find for my customer on the form as it gets printed. So let's go ahead and click next here. And now this gives me an indication of how the report's going to look, okay? It's going to have titles here. It's going to have a block title up here. It's going to have the first category up here, which I chose first, roll up right here, which I chose to be category in this case. I don't have any other roll ups, so really it's going to show this section on the right here. Instead, so it's going to go category and then to blocks of data here. Now I could go ahead and choose a block look so that it puts category here and then it puts the data off to the right. Stepped allows me to slide some of this data underneath the title, and I'll show you what that means when we get to the report, because when we modify the report we're going to see that it didn't have quite enough room to keep it all within the form on an 8.5 by 11 page. I could have it be an outline, very similar to the stepped, but it just gives it a little bit more definition. But it also uses a lot of blank real estate over here that I don't necessarily like in my reports. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back at stepped here. That'll allow me to play with it and gives me more flexibility when I want to actually build the form and put it in its final format, okay? And this is going to say just the field width so that all fit on the page. We'll see how effectively that works. Generally, you still have to do some adjustment when you get to the final product. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. What title do I want to have on my report? I'm going to call it products by category. But I'm going to go ahead and click on modify the report's design, and I'm going to click finish here. Now what you'll see here as we look at this, it has all the fields here. It may or may not be effectively laid out, But let's go ahead, and it's actually looking fairly good. Oh, I've got some modification I need to make up here. My titles up here are going to be just the field names, and that might not be the best layout. It laid it out pretty well. It maneuvered and leveled things out, put the fields with good information here. I can see anniversary is cut off here, so probably don't have quite enough room for some of the descriptions, which should allow me to go ahead and put this farther over to the left and give these more space. But as far as the prices and everything, they're looking good. As I go onto different pages here, you can see most of the descriptions fit just fine. The inspection process here is turning out quite nice. So let's go ahead and go back and close this print preview here and go back to design view. And in design view, what I can do now is modify this a bit by pushing this over a bit to the left so that I can expand these two a bit. And notice when I highlight both of these at once, it'll allow me to move them together. Now this label right here has the caption product ID. I'm just going to put ID here and leave it at that, okay? And let's go look at in stock here. And I'm just going to call it quantity and see how that works. Doesn't look like it's quite big enough still. So I'm going to go ahead and abbreviate it to QTY. And retail price, have plenty of room for that label, so I'm just going to put a space in here to make it look a bit better. Alrighty, it looks like I've got pretty much everything. Sometimes these fields don't even up quite perfectly, so I'm going to highlight the ones that are a little bit off, and I'm going to move those together, and it looks like I've evened the bottoms of all of those up here. And really all I'm dealing with here is a little bit of cosmetics, just to make the product, just to make the report look the way I'd like it to look. I could give a little less space to the product by category title up here, but this is my report header, so it only appears on the first page, so I'm not really concerned about how much real estate that takes up. I have a page header and a category header, the detail, and then the page footer. So every page has this footer on it, and every page has this header on it. And so let's go ahead and look at the print preview again. Let's look at the report view. Okay, report view is fine too. And so product by category, I've given more room here. Let's look. Good. 35th anniversary comes all the way out there. We've got plenty of space there. And as I scroll through the report, notice that print preview has my report divided by page numbers. This one is just, you scroll all the way through it and you can see everything. And it looks like it's pretty good. And of course this is all on page 1 because it's not dividing it by the end of the paper, the 8.5 by 11 restriction that you have on a print preview. So we could go ahead and go to the print preview and see how the printed product will look here. And it has page 1 of 4. We're going to go on to 4 pages. And as we scroll through the various ones, we have headings at the top of each page, like we expected. Very good. And it looks good. Looks like we have a finished report here, and all done in the report wizard, which allowed us to really do an awful lot in a very little bit of effort. So hope you've enjoyed what you saw here. Put questions and comments at the bottom if you would, and I'll try to answer those. And thanks for joining. Bye. I want to thank you so much for viewing this video. We have great content on the site, and I'm putting more content out every single day. There's a link to one of them on the side of the screen over here. Also, please help me grow the channel by subscribing. So hit that subscribe button a little bit lower on the other side of the screen, and hope to see you again. Thanks.